Do I... uh, do I know you, strange one? I make no oaths by wrath.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we'll be continuing our actor interviews for the production of The Fall of Ingway, and today we'll be speaking to Uduak Inyang. Uduak played several characters in the production, Curiosity, Omarick, and several of the Minotaur characters being the most prominent. Of all the different interviews I did, this one was one of the ones that was the most fun. It was just interesting to speak to him and found like a shared history of location that was just very random. I've hired these people from all around the country and all around the world, and then to find out that we've both lived in pretty much the same town before was really funny. None of the characters that he plays have their own theme songs. So whereas with the other interviews, I've been introducing each one with a song associated with their character, this time I'm just going to play one of the other lovely tracks provided by Michael Hyman. This one is called Until the Compass Spins. Enjoy. Hey, good to meet you. I'm Justin Rose, the author of the project, and you are?
Uduak Inyang. I guess a few characters on the project. So yeah.
Yeah. So you played primarily Curiosity, Omarick, and then a few of the Minotaur characters, and then a couple of the filler parts here and there.
Yeah.
Where are you from?
So originally from Nigeria, but I've kind of been in the US on and off since 2002. So like right now I'm in California, and that's where I've been for the past 10 years.
Well, you like it?
You know what? It's not bad. My favorite state's Minnesota. I won't lie. It was the first
I
place
am
I
about
came.
5 minutes from Minnesota right now.
Are you serious? Where are you located?
I am like the very northern edge of Wisconsin. I can look out my window and see
Oh, very
Minnesota.
cool. Very cool. I went to school there. It was the first state I came when I originally came from Nigeria. And I loved the seasons, the weather, everything, the snow. But ever since being in California, I've kind of got used to the weather. And I have to say, I love nature. So everything is like right here. So yeah, I love it now.
Really nice. Yeah. So you
Yeah.
go to school at probably Minneapolis then, I'm assuming, or?
No, I actually went up north. So Duluth. I went to the
Oh,
University of Minnesota Duluth. Yeah. Yeah. But I had a few
so
friends
cool.
in
Yeah,
Minneapolis.
I'm from Superior, like literally
Are you
across the bridge from Duluth.
I
Yeah.
used I've been to Superior. That's like
Oh, cool.
Superior, and I was once in, was it Milwaukee? There was another place, but Superior, we
Yeah.
we went there oftentimes. I had friends from Superior, so very
Yes.
cool. Small
That's
world.
really cool. Yeah. So how long have you been acting?
Who would the Puff the Magic Dragon when I was in elementary school 8 count?
I mean,
Not long.
absolutely. I mean, why not?
No, not long at all. So growing up, I loved theater, I loved acting, but I kind of went off on a different path, given the culture I was raised in. So really acting since 2017. That's when I started voiceover, doing it very part-time. I was working in IT, but voiceover gives me energy. It kind of fills my soul. So kind of doing that in between the 9 to 5, and now doing that full time since May of last year, 2023. So
Oh, well,
yeah,
congrats on that. That's
thank
cool.
you.
That's cool to be able to
Thank
make that
you.
shift.
Yeah.
Michelangelo, the painter and sculptor, he used to say that when he painted, it sucked energy out of his body. And when he sculpted,
Oh,
it put it back in. And that sounds just like what you said there,
interesting.
where like, you do the art that you love and it
Yeah.
pours back into you.
Oh yeah. No,
Um,
no regrets. I feel that much more alive doing this, and it's allowed me to work on some pretty cool projects. This one being, one of them. So yeah,
Heck
very
yeah.
happy.
Yeah,
hmm
that's so cool. And how did you start acting? Like what brought you back into it?
So it was a chance meeting. I used to do, self-development, kind of looking for that way to put some soul back into me doing IT for a while. It would have been 10 years last October. But a chance encounter, I was at a self-development seminar and I was speaking, and one of the gentlemen in the audience was like, "Have you ever thought of doing voiceover?" This was early 2017. And I'm like, "No," because I thought you'd have to go to school for that,
Mhm.
a lot of time invested, which I had enough of school at that point. But I kind of just took that. He suggested a voice acting school, a course here in Burbank, close to where I live, and I got in. I just fell in love with it. I was terrified because I'm like, okay, now I'm going to have to go to school for this. And these people are so good, but the desire was there. And it kind of reminded me of acting when I was younger. So little by little, I took a course here, went to a workshop there and started putting my stuff out very, in small bits and pieces. And the rest has been history.
It's neat the little things that can happen that just like change your trajectory, you know?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And so you went to the I guess the next question I had was what kind of training or education you had in school. We kind of already just went over that. So
Mhm.
what kind of acting do you most enjoy? I know like on your profile you have some documentary stuff and some narration stuff and
Yeah,
audiobook. What sort of
yeah.
stuff do you like?
So I came in, and I've been wanting to do that, like I mentioned, since I was little. I wanted to do on camera, but that aside, voice acting has been wonderful. It started off with video games. I'm still pursuing video game work. I love documentary narration and, narration of TV, anything like that. Um, Mostly those, but I've done, from commercials to corporate stuff. I do mostly up till now commercials and corporate stuff, but I've done a couple of video games and those have been fun little bits here and there, documentary narration. And The Fall of Ingway, is actually the second audio drama that I've actually done, both
Oh, cool.
this year,
What was the
or
other
sorry,
one? Go
last
ahead.
year.
Feel free to give
So,
them a plug if you want.
oh, the other one was Dr. Anthony in, I forget the name. It's give me just 1 second here,
Sure,
Justin.
absolutely.
Let
Okay.
me it just came out. It was from a gentleman who oh it's called Almighty. It's Dr. Eamon Anthony, the from Shane Dicus. I am not sure too much, about him. He just put the first two episodes out. I think it was the last quarter of last year and into this year, he's going to do more. But I'd never done anything like that before. And it was so fun. It's like acting not on stage, but that kind of feel, being able to go back and forth with other actors. And, I just enjoyed it. And then when I saw The Fall of Ingway, yeah, that was just on another level. So yeah, yeah,
I love the medium. Like this is the first project that I've done of this sort also.
yeah,
And like I've always loved the medium though. And there's something very satisfying about, I can write a book and I can put it out and it's wonderful and lovely, but to be able to do a project where I put my heart into it and then I'm able to bring in other people who put in their talents and it just like it's a synergistic creation where it's better than the sum of its parts, And
yeah.
I love that.
I'm just amazed at how you were able to put together that story. Like, I love working with content creators and who just, I don't know where you guys get it from. It was just so intricate and involved. And from beginning to end, I was wrapped. And in fact, when it came to the end, I almost wanted it to go on a little bit, but it tied in so beautifully to how it started. It was amazing. Amazing, Justin.
Thank you.
It was incredible.
That means the absolute world to me to hear.
Yeah, yeah.
So I think you're the only person who I hired based mostly on listening to your narration reels. I was looking for someone who could do the Minotaur voices, somebody with like a deep bass voice, and I came across, I think it was your one about monarch butterflies. And I was like, okay, this guy,
Oh,
he's
cool.
not only got that bass to his voice, but he's also got kind of like an eloquence that sounds really good. I was like, he could probably do some God parts. And then I listened to your one about the African waterfall, and I heard you kind of
Mhm.
doing a Nigerian accent.
Yeah,
And it was
yeah.
like right then, I was like, okay, there's my Omarick. Like that's the guy. I pretty much decided right then, didn't even need you to audition almost. But I really liked your approach to the nature documentaries. Like you have a
Yeah.
great voice for that.
Thank you. Thank you. I enjoy it. No, really. And I just wanted to say thank you for, giving me the parts that you did. I really enjoyed it. And what really connected me with the story, apart from it being great, like you mentioned, the characters, very grounded. Can I say, fell in love with Ingwe. I was, I was moved by his story, and it was so different than kind of what I've read in the past. I actually did philosophy as a minor in school
Okay.
and Greek mythology, Roman mythology. So I'm familiar with some of the concepts, but this had a slightly different take. And one of the things I enjoyed, I don't know if you're going to get to this question, but I'm going to just give it to you now,
Go
is
for it.
kind of seeing Ingwe from a different perspective, not that cold, withdrawn, sort of shadowy figure that just does his role or its role without any emotion. And you humanize him in a way that I definitely connected with him, through the story. I felt for his journey and his love for both the humans, Gaudry's family, Melishan, and also Mercy. And I had never seen before. And one thing that I really enjoyed was getting to see the transition between the dying and the dead and how he related with the people he was taking away. I thought that was fantastic. So I really enjoyed that.
Thank you. Yeah, I was trying to do something with the character where like kind of like the initial kickoff idea for me for how to approach Ingwe's character was there's there are different virtues that sometimes almost seem to come into conflict with each other, even though they're both good things. And it's oftentimes the cause of wars and different things where you have cultures that have values that by themselves are good, but when they run up against each other, they can strike sparks. So I was like, okay, I have this character who's dedicated to reaping the dead. It's his
Yeah,
responsibility, his duty. It's a thing he needs to do to maintain order. But then you have the god of mercy, who is an emblem of pulling back from death, distancing from that, recoiling from that. And they're both good, virtuous things,
yeah,
but they kind of run up against each other. So the main impetus for the idea was okay, what about a god of duty who is corrupted by mercy? It's like it's even though both things are virtuous and good, it's a degradation through falling into the wrong good.
right.
So I had a lot of fun with that.
No, that was incredible. Loved it. It was great to see that difference, that different side of that story. So yeah, I enjoyed it.
And so which of the roles you did you like the most? There was Curiosity,
Yeah.
Omarick, the Minotaurs.
So I think I had the most fun with the Minotaurs because I'd never done anything like that. And let me say, I think my neighbors would like me never to do something like that again because kind of trying to get into that, I was like, okay, for instance, lowing, like muling, how do you do that? So I was watching a few things and trying to get the voice and the grunts and just put my all into it. That was different. I definitely that I was enjoyable. So I had the most fun there. Where I had the most, I think, curiosity was one I enjoyed too, because there was a range of emotions from, I don't know if you felt this in how I played him, but in the beginning, a bit, haughty, being a god, a passion, kind of just, this is me. He's one of the Phage's first children, but then through it, not quite so sturdy in the argument with Ingwe, and then at the end with Phaedra, kind of more like a son that is yearning, like in the script for Phaedra. So there was a difference in emotion throughout how I played him. So yeah, I like those transitions.
Definitely came through, and it's
Yeah,
also very much what I was looking for. So I appreciate your
yeah,
picking up on the cues of the kind of shifting dynamics there.
yeah,
It's
yeah.
cool. My next question actually had was going to be about the Minotaurs because I had three actors who I hired to do those like bit parts where kind of like the extra Minotaur soldier parts with the
Yeah.
just sound effects and stuff. And I was like, I can only give them so much direction in text, and I'm just going to kind of leave it on them to figure out what they can do with this. And I
Yeah.
was so pleased with what all three of you actually did a phenomenal job of that and gave me stuff that my
Awesome.
sound designer should really be able to work with. But I was like, it's got to be awkward for these guys sitting at their mic in their studio, like making noises somewhere between human and bull.
You get it, you get into it because at first, like the first few tries, I'm like, okay, no, sounds more like a lion, and Luckily for me, I grew up around cattle. I come from a farming family, so goats mostly. So that kind of helped. But I kind of it kind of got to my head a little bit, especially for the what was his name? Um, the second Lysandes' second.
Rehavan,
Urian,
I think.
Eurofon, that's the one. Yeah, Eurofon. I really got into him. And so yeah, it gets to you and you feel it, you feel that energy. And I'm just happy I was able to deliver because at times in the beginning, I'm like, I don't know if I can do this to the level I would like to do it for the story. So I'm glad you enjoyed that.
Yeah, and like I said, I didn't know what the results were going to be. So some of those like smaller roles there, I doubled up on and I hired multiple people for each of the like
Yeah,
smaller Minotaur roles just to
yeah.
make sure one of them was going to nail it. But honestly, I was like, wow, all three of these guys, they did a great job. So
Is there a point where you can chorus all of them? Because like the attack,
mhm.
where like so there's a din of noises. Because I was like, is that what Justin's gonna do? Put it all together? Because I cannot wait to hear when it's all put together.
Yeah, I'm not doing the sound design elements myself. I've got a
Oh, I see.
much more
Okay.
skilled person hired to do that. So part of that
Okay.
decision is going to fall on him. But that's what I'm envisioning is being
Okay.
able to take bits and snippets here and there from each of you guys' recordings for those battle scenes. Yeah.
Okay. Awesome.
Time for you to just give out some personal plugs or whatever. So do you have any upcoming projects or prior projects that you're like really excited about that you'd like to share with people?
Well, to be honest, nothing upcoming that I can talk about. There's a couple of things, but they're under NDA.
Sure.
I'm freelance freelance at the moment. I just got an agent, so things may pick up from there. But I
Congrats.
love working with, thank you. I love working with creators like yourself who are, coming up with these amazing stories. So if there's anybody out there who, when they hear, the Fall of Ingwe and would like to just reach out to me, I am open for collaboration. I'd love to help, people like yourself bring their stories to life through, the power of voice, however I can. So just reach out to me, let me know.
I'll throw out right now that all the people I hired for this are on Backstage. So if anybody is listening to this who is a creator and they're like, I like some of these voices, all the guys on this program, they're all on all the guys and ladies are on Backstage. So feel free to check them out there.
Awesome.
Um, yeah, so I think that was most of the stuff I had. Just kind of a closing couple get to know you questions for people.
Sure.
What's your favorite actor? You're an actor yourself. Is there anybody who you really love?
Thank goodness. My goodness. You know, I haven't seen a single celebrity. I've been here for 10 years, in the South Bay. And when I moved here, I'm like, okay, I'm going to see this person and this person, like from stuff I've watched growing up. I have to say, to answer that question, this is going to sound really weird. I'm old school. So growing up, The X-Files was one of my favorite shows. It still is. Gillian Anderson, Dana Scully. She is, because she's my favorite actress because I never thought that it felt like she was acting. It just seemed so real and so grounded. And for the longest time, I actually thought she was a medical doctor. So, it's amazing. But there's so many, and that's one of the things I love about acting. Just having somebody react to what I've done in the way I reacted to hers, just getting lost in the story, suspending disbelief, and entertaining someone for however long for that movie or that show, that story, however long that lasts, and making them connect to the character, laugh with them, cry with them, hate them, and just being really involved with that, empathize with them. Yeah, so her and just a whole bunch of other people, she would be my number one.
Also big X-Files fan, so I like to
Oh,
hear that.
yeah. Very
Any favorite book or story?
Ah, it would have to be, again, I love, mythology. For me, it would be Tolkien, The Lord of the
Okay.
Rings, The
Yeah.
Hobbit. I grew up with that and seeing the movies. I think they all did a great job. So anytime I get an opportunity to either be a part of something like that, I jump on that because I love it. It's wonderful.
Lord of the Rings is hard to beat. That's a high pedestal in the fantasy world, and I think the movies are some of the few fantasy movies that really did justice to the books. Like they were something else. Kind of in the same vein, favorite movie, favorite musician. That's either of those?
Oh, favorite movie. There are so many of these, but I'm gonna do something. It's a little bit different. Favorite movie, just off the top of my head, it would be Meet Joe Black. I don't know. Have you seen
Haven't seen
that?
that one, no.
Okay, it's with Brad Pitt, Claire Forlani, and Anthony Hopkins. It's an older one, but it's a softer movie about death, funnily enough. Brad Pitt plays death, and it
Oh,
goes
okay.
through this, yeah, it goes through this journey where he goes to this guy, this man who owns this company, and he walks with him, reveals himself to him, tells him he'll take him away, but lives with him and his family for, a few days before he takes him. And it's funny because that's kind of death in your story, but it's
Yeah.
the emotion behind it. Death's journey from being, okay, I'm going to take it, this is my job, to being humanized by the end and appreciating life at the end and kind of finding it hard to let go, and
Yeah.
continue. So yeah, yeah.
That's cool. Like there's so much that can be done with the idea of, unembodied death, a personal death. It's something that's been around in stories for as long as people have told stories,
Yeah.
basically, and yet it's never really been overused either. There's still new stuff there.
Yeah,
Like
true.
there's a book called I think they made a movie of it too, but I'm more familiar with the book called A Book Thief about a
Mm,
young girl during World War II in Germany. And
okay.
there's the narrator of the book is death. And
Okay.
again, it's kind of
Oh,
like a softer take and a gentler view on who death would be, but also a very, very weary, soul-worn character. And
wow.
of all the different takes I've seen in film or in stories or in legends or books like that, I've always really liked that one.
Oh, wow. If you do get some time, just have nothing else to do, just watch Meet Joe Black and
Yeah.
just see what you think. Yeah, yeah.
It was lovely talking to you, and it was good to meet you. Put like a face and a
Likewise.
voice to the
Sure.
messages we've just been sending back and forth on Backstage. And if I do another one of these projects, fingers crossed that I hope to be able to have another script ready next year or something.
Mhm.
I will definitely be sending you an invite to audition. You did a
Awesome.
great job on
Awesome.
this.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And thank you again so much. When does it come out? Like, and what's
So
next in the process?
right now, I'm in the stage of working on the music. So I've been going back and forth with the composer who's doing the different songs for it. And we're about halfway through, and it's turning out really good. I've got very high hopes for that.
Very cool.
So
Do
yeah.
you have any sort of like artwork or anything that you can share? Because I'd like to promote it on like social media, if that's okay with you. Just put that out
No, I would love, yeah, I will. I don't have any finished artwork for it yet. I got
there.
the
Okay.
like rough sketch for the cover a couple days ago.
Okay.
But once I have stuff to share, I would love to be able to send it out to any of you guys who wanted to share, because the more eyes on it, the better.
Yeah, no, I'd love to. So I'm whenever it's ready, anything you can share, send it my way.
Awesome. Yeah. Do you have like a particular social media platform
Oh,
that you
Instagram.
use?
I'm wor-
Okay.
I'm just
I'll
getting
give
up
you a
on
follow
work
there.
on Instagram. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Jolly good. Have a great rest of your day, man.
You too. Have a great weekend.
Bye.
Bye.
No quarrel with brother endurance. That's well enough. But I take it you do have a quarrel. What happened to the law of life, Reaper? You broke a law, not a tradition. A law. Death is death. What do you say on your behalf? We cannot let you go on this way. Malice, bring the chains. pages. And the worm glimpses the sky.